Good evening. It's Saturday the 6th of November and it's just past 6 o'clock, and welcome to our news programme this evening. Officers are investigating an incident involving men with a knife at a nightclub in Weymouth, and they're appealing for information. At around 2:40 on Monday the 1st of November, Dorset Police received a report that 3 men were in possession of a knife at Actors nightclub in Maiden Street. It was further reported that the knife had been seized by security staff at the premises following a disturbance outside. Following inquiries, 2 local men, one aged 20 and the other 31, were arrested on suspicion of affray and possession of a bladed article. They have now been released on police bail as further inquiries are made. Dorset police officers are also investigating an alleged burglary and criminal damage to shop windows in Dorchester, and are appealing for information for that as well. At around 1:10 a.m. on Sunday the 31st of October, it is reported that a number of shops had their windows smashed in South Street and Hardy Arcade. The shops included Jojo Mama BB, Robert Dias, Pro Cook, WH Smith, Amplifon Hearing Centre, Specsavers and Wise Owl Toys. It was further reported during the incident at Specsavers that entry was gained to the shop and the fire extinguisher was stolen. At around 2:55 the same night, it was reported that Central Convenience Store and Spa in Maud Road had also had their windows and doors smashed. Officers attended the scene, and a 24-year-old man from the Dorchester area and a 24-year-old man from the Weymouth area were arrested on suspicion of criminal damage. The man from Weymouth has also been arrested on suspicion of burglary. Now, if you know anything in respect of either of those events, that's the knife incident in the Weymouth Actors nightclub and the smashing of windows in Dorchester, Dorset Police would like to hear from you. Usual numbers 101 or anonymously via Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111. Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance have announced the launch of their Share a Gift of Life This Christmas campaign. Share a Gift of Life This Christmas is the charity's latest fundraising initiative, which asks members of the public to show their support and raise funds by either buying a bauble, giving a gift, or sending a card to loved ones or friends during the forthcoming festive season. So, for Buy a Bauble, supporters can make an online donation and receive a downloadable Christmas bauble template. This can be personalised and decorated in any way. Baubles can then be returned to the charity and will be displayed on a Christmas tree at their airbase, bringing some festive cheer to members of the Air Ambulance crew. You can give a gift. You can give a special gift to friends, loved ones or colleagues by purchasing a range of stocking fillers from the charity's online shop, or by purchasing a lottery gift voucher and giving your friends the chance of winning a prize this forthcoming Christmas. And finally, send a card. Supporters wanting to send a Christmas card to someone special can purchase an e-card for £5, £10 or £15 via the charity's online shop. Or if you want a traditional card, you can buy some cards online and write and send them to your friends. And you can purchase packs of Air Ambulance Christmas cards in a variety of designs on the shop. Over the Christmas period, of course, Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance critical care team will continue to respond the 19 hours a day that they do, helping critically ill or injured patients across the whole region. Remember, the charity receives no funding from the government or the National Lottery and relies on the generosity of all of us, the general public, to raise their operational costs of over £5 million per year. Of course, more information on Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance and to get access to their shop can be found by visiting www.dsairambulance.org.uk. So there you go. If you'd like to support charity this year at Christmas, Dorset and Somerset Air Ambulance is just one of them. We will mention any others in the weeks up to Christmas if they're doing anything special. Dorset and Wilts Fire and Rescue Service have said they want to remind the public of the importance of carbon monoxide alarms following an incident on the 3rd of November this week. 2 people staying at a beach hut raised the alarm when they were overcome by gas fumes. Two crews from Portland were mobilised to the scene and had to break into the hut to rescue the people and a dog who were barely conscious by the time they arrived. The crews administered oxygen therapy until ambulance crews arrived. Station manager Russ True said that the affected people have been very lucky. Carbon monoxide is colourless, odourless and tasteless, but it's extremely dangerous. And obviously without a carbon dioxide detector, you have no way of knowing that you're being poisoned and the damage that's slowly being done to you. Now, we will return to this story a little bit later on in tonight's programme. Dorset Council has sent letters to key members of central government calling for further help in tackling the climate ecological emergency. Obviously, that's very in the news with the COP26 summit happening at the moment. Among those whom the letters were being shared with are all the local MPs whose constituencies are based in Dorset, and they've gone off to people like the Right Honourable Michael Gove, the Right Honourable Grant Shapper and various other government people. The letters explain the authority will need more money to reduce their carbon footprint and to achieve carbon neutrality. They also highlight that the county, being a coastal county and predominantly rural, faces the dangers of increased flooding incidents and other extreme weather events caused by the climate change, and these could be catastrophic for the local communities. The council have told government that they have made good progress already in reducing their carbon footprint by making their buildings more efficient, by developing and transforming travel and working with partners whom they celebrate the success, particularly of their waste recycling services, which are amongst the best in the country. They have however, urged central government to remove the hurdles on renewable energy deployment. It's particularly difficult to set up solar arrays, wind farms and tidal power generation in terms of bureaucracy, funding and the physical infrastructure. They've also said about the latest National Planning Policy Framework doesn't go far enough when looking at climate change prevention. They want to increase enforceable standards for building insulation and energy efficiency, as has been done in Scotland, and they want that implemented nationwide. They've also asked for more investment in sustainable public transport infrastructure and active travel, especially in rural areas. Over the past few decades, local councils have been forced to cut the subsidies that they give to things like rural bus services, which are actually vital to those who live in the rural community. And Dorset has been impacted by this more than others. And they also want stronger support for digital infrastructure and flexible working. Enabling employees to work from home during the pandemic was maintained productivity and kept services going. But if people are to work at home and to run businesses from home in the future, then obviously the digital networks need to be enhanced and transformed. Dorset Council say if the UK government can demonstrate bold leadership and use the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to empower local councils, businesses and communities to build a better Britain that recognises the climate and ecological emergency, then everyone will reap the benefits of a healthier planet and a stronger economy. Staying with Dorset Council, they have published the comments that have come in as a result of their local plan. The comments were received during the first consultation on the draft Dorset Council local plan, and they've actually now been published on the council's website. The first consultation of the plan was carried out between January and March this year, and around 9,000 people took part and made comments. These comments have all been considered alongside the plan and national planning policy to provide Dorset's residents with accommodation, employment and facilities that they will need over the next 17 years. This includes the need to provide housing for people who cannot afford to buy or rent from the housing market, and that's obviously a big issue for us in Dorset, where house prices are high and wages are quite low, and it's quite difficult for people to get on the housing ladder, particularly first-time buyers. Work continues to develop policies for local housing need, the self-build register, and to find ways of helping Dorset Council to adapt and mitigate the effects of the climate change. If you're interested in the feedback from the local plan, go along to the Dorset Council website at www.dorsetcouncil.gov.uk/Dorset-council-local-plan. Finally, with Dorset Council, they have announced the second round of the Community and Cultural Project Fund. The Dorset Council Managed Fund helps not-for-profit community groups or cultural groups that are looking for funds. These groups can include museums, community sports and arts organisations, and the fund can award up to £5,000 towards a project. The online application opened on the 1st of November, so if you have a sports, arts or community-based project you want to deliver in the next 12 months for the benefit of your community, then you can find out how to apply by going to the Dorset Council website. You can apply for up to 80% of the total project costs, and you'll be required to demonstrate how you'll raise the other 20%. You can apply for between £1,000 and £5,000, and the activity or event must take place in the Dorset Council area. You must also be able to start your project from April 2022. If you want to see the typical projects that other people have got funded, and there is a range, I did look earlier, and then pop along to the Dorset Council website and they give some examples of the sorts of projects that they have actually helped. The application will need to demonstrate how your project will contribute to the delivery of the Council's corporate priorities for the community, environment, economy, health and well-being. Cultural products will also need to demonstrate their cultural outcomes. All applications are welcome, particularly those that deliver a benefit to marginalised people. The deadline for getting your application in is the 7th of January 2022. And finally, in our headlines tonight, not too much going on this week, lesser headlines than we normally have, but finally tonight, the Bacon Butty has been named the UK's favourite sandwich, according to a new national research that was commissioned to celebrate World Sandwich Day, which was on the 3rd of November. Did you know it was World Sandwich Day on the 3rd of November? Well, I didn't until I picked up this article, but it was. The study conducted by Food Hub aimed to discover the nation's favourite sandwich, with 1 in 5 Brits opting for Bacon Butty as their preferred option. Last year, the Bacon Butty was controversially knocked off the top spot by the hamburger, causing an outcry, particularly on social media, where people insisted the burger shouldn't qualify as a sandwich. Well, there you go. Over a quarter of participants chose white sliced loaf as their bread of choice when it came to sandwich making, with the French favourite baguette in second place with 26%, and whole grain bread coming in third with 22%. Now, mayonnaise, interestingly, was crowned as the top go-to condiment, with 48% making it their first choice, knocking even butter off the top spot down to 24%. 1 in 5 Brits claim to eat a sandwich every single day, and 1 in 10 Londoners said that they eat sandwiches several times a day. So here's our top 10 in the sandwich filling list. Number 1 was the Bacon Butty. Number 2, cheese. Number 3, cheese and pickle. Number 4, ham and cheese. Number 5, egg mayo. Number 6, chicken. Number 7, tuna. Number 8, sausage. Number 9, chicken and bacon. And number 10, prawn mayo. Well, there we go. Did you know it was National Sandwich Week this week? I didn't, but yes, we all do enjoy a sandwich. Was your favourite sandwich in that list tonight? Well, there we go. That's our headlines tonight on Saturday, the 6th of November. Now, moving on to our sort of first feature this evening. Did you know, and you'll probably cringe when I say this, it's 50 days or 7 weeks until Christmas. I know some people have already got their decorations and trees up and lights on their houses, but for most of us it'll be a few weeks before we do that, I'm sure. And we have heard this year about something special that is happening for the first time in White Regis in the run-up to Christmas. And it's something that everyone with families and children can join in with. So this week, Janet Hall is going to tell us about when the angels are coming to White Regis.
Hello everyone. I have it on good authority that angels are coming to White Regis Parish this Christmas. I happen to know that a lot of people are already knitting angels They look like this. You might like to join in. There are some patterns at the back of All Saints Church so that you could make one too. And some wool and some needles. You won't see them around the streets of Wyke just yet. In the weeks running up to Christmas, keep your eyes open. Angels may pop up in the most unexpected places. If you find one, it's yours. Take it home. Put it on your Christmas tree or keep it somewhere safe over Christmas. It is made with love by the people of Wyke Regis. And that's not the only thing you'll need to look out for. During December, you may see a poster like this one. If you do, note the letter that's in the circle there, write it down and keep it safe. When you've seen 8 posters like this, it will be the beginning of a message. You'll need to unscramble the letters, and then it will tell you what the angels brought that first Christmas. Other people are making angels too. We're hoping that All Saints Church will be filled with angels, and you can come and see them in the week before Christmas. And most especially on Christmas Eve, the service that's always been a balloon service. You might have come and had great fun there. It's still going to be the same service, but this year it's going to be an angel service. Whereas before the church was filled with balloons, this year it will be filled with angels. And at the end of the service, the angels will come down and everyone will be able to take one home with them, just like you used to take a balloon. But the angel will last a bit longer, I think, and it will sit on your Christmas tree, and it can come out next year to remind you of the fun that you had in 2021. And you remember how I told you about the angel trail, where you had to write the letters down and unscramble them to make the angel's message? Well, if you bring that to church on December the 24th, there may be a prize for you. It may even be an angel. I wouldn't be at all surprised. So write down 4 o'clock on December the 24th for the angel service. But remember, there'll be lots of visits from the angels before that. And I hope to see you sometime coming into the church over Christmas and enjoying all our angels. Goodbye for now.
There we go. That's the angels coming to Wyke Regis. Now, if you're part of a group, or you're a school, or you're a youth group or something, and you'd like to make some angels, and you can't get into All Saints Church to pick up a pattern, do drop us a line at news@WykeRegis.tv, and we will liaise with Janet and see if we can get the information electronically so that we can post it out to you or email it out to you. We want to see as many angels all over Wyke Regis as possible in the run-up to Christmas. Moving on to our second story this evening. Local health services are often in the news these days, whether it's because of the response to the COVID pandemic or the number of people attending accident and emergency and the pressures put on the hospital, or if it's the waiting times for routine treatment and surgery that are taking much longer than usual. The latest COVID case rates across both Dorset Council and Bournemouth and Poole Council area remain high after a very steep rise in October. The number of people in Dorset hospitals with COVID-19 this week has increased to 69 people, and this is the highest number since March 2021. And the number of deaths related to COVID have remained relatively stable over the last few weeks. With high case rates and wider pressure on our local health and care services, the NHS continues to ask everyone to remember that we're still living with COVID and to act with caution. Locally, our NHS, and particularly Dorset County Hospital, have been looking at plans to open up temporary facilities to deal with the regular treatment and surgery and pre-assessment, and to help with waiting list backlogs. Chief Medical Officer Alistair Hutchinson gives us now an overview of how the hospital teams are working to address waiting times at Dorset County Hospital and make sure that all the regular things that we need to go to hospital for are still there and are getting back on track.
Across the whole NHS, the coronavirus response has had a significant impact on the services that we've been able to provide for our patients. But all of our teams have been working incredibly hard to restart activities that were paused during the pandemic. We've managed to keep cancer and urgent procedures going throughout the pandemic, and so the majority of clinically urgent patients have been treated in the usual order with usual waiting list times. And we've been running as many outpatient appointments as possible, some via telephone or video links, to keep those consultations going and to minimise the need for patients to come on site to be treated. Now our focus is on patients waiting for planned surgery, and we will ensure that they're treated in order of clinical need and urgency. We have a number of particularly challenged specialties, and there are plans in place for creating additional capacity to get those patients in and dealt with as quickly as we possibly can. We are very aware of the impact that longer wait times have on our patients, and we're really sorry for the inconvenience and for the distress that we know that will cause to people and to their relatives. The safety of all of our patients is our top priority, and we will continue to prioritise those patients who we know are in most urgent need. One other thing to say is that we have very rigorous infection control policies and procedures across the trust to keep anybody who comes in for treatment of any description as safe as possible, not just from coronavirus, but also from any other infection. And what that means is that some of the procedures take longer to perform because we have to clean more rigorously between patients and clean equipment more carefully. So that unfortunately is adding to some of the waiting times. But we would really like to thank all of our patients and their relatives for their forbearance as we get these services back up and running. We are doing everything that we can. We are exploring every option to get people in as quickly as possible, to get them treated and to get them safely home.
Thank you very much, Alistair, for updating us there on what's happening at Dorset County Hospital to get things back on track. And what I would say is one thing Alistair did mention there was that the safety of going to hospital. I've had people mention to me that they're concerned that going to hospital since the COVID pandemic, that they may expose themselves to a greater risk of COVID. Well, as somebody who has to go to hospital regularly and have continued to go to hospital throughout the pandemic for regular treatment, I can honestly say that I feel no safer than when I go into Dorset Hospital. It is clean, it is very well managed, and the staff are incredibly careful to protect patients and themselves and other staff. So I would certainly urge you, if you're asked to go for an appointment at the hospital, not to concern yourself about COVID, to go along and know that you will be safe, obviously following the hospital rules in respect of using hand gel and wearing masks, etc. Now, we heard earlier in today's programme about the near miss this week with carbon monoxide poisoning. Now, carbon monoxide is produced by the incomplete burning of carbon-based fuels, including gas, oil, wood and coal. Most cases of carbon dioxide poisoning are caused by gas appliances and flues that have not been properly installed or maintained, or are poorly ventilated. I have some experience of carbon monoxide poisoning. When I was volunteering for the ambulance service, I remember attending an incident in Wyke Regis where a couple had a gas fire in their front room and they called the ambulance service because they were feeling very unwell. And by the time I got there, they were not in a good way. And also a friend using a petrol-driven hedge trimmer, where the fuel mix was wrong in the hedge trimmer and something was wrong with the exhaust system. and he became very unwell because the carbon monoxide fumes were blowing in his face. So I know how poorly people can be. There are signs that you can look out for that indicate incomplete combustion and maybe the production of carbon monoxide, such as yellow or orange rather than blue flames, except obviously in fuel effect fires and fluidless appliances. Soot or yellow-brown staining around or on an appliance. Pilot lights that frequently blow out. Increased condensation inside windows is another one. Now, carbon monoxide detectors can be bought in most supermarkets and DIY stores, places like B&Q. They're not expensive and they save lives. These people that we've spoken about had experienced some advanced symptoms, but were fortunate that they were still able to raise the alarm. And the idea of the carbon monoxide detectors is to raise the alarm early. Now, before the programme, I just popped online and just looked at the typical price of a carbon monoxide detector. And I found, with just a simple search, quite a few options under £15. So, you know, they're not expensive. If you haven't got one and you've got gas appliances, I strongly suggest that you consider getting one. Now we're going to see a short video now produced by Phil Burrows of a company called Cadent in association with Derbyshire Fire and Rescue that explains to us about carbon monoxide and protecting ourselves.
Carbon monoxide is an odourless gas and it's produced through incomplete combustion of fossil fuels such as natural gas or coal.
We don't normally expect carbon monoxide to be produced when using gas appliances unless there's actually a fault with a particular appliance, for example, a freestanding gas heater, a gas cooker, a gas fire, or a boiler or water heater.
So carbon monoxide has no smell at all, which makes it really difficult to detect a leak. It's often referred to as a silent killer because you can't see it, you can't smell it, and of course you can't taste it.
Just because there's no smell and it's hard to detect doesn't mean that there's nothing that we can do about it. Carbon monoxide, if inhaled, can affect the ability of your blood to carry oxygen around your body. It can make you feel ill, it can lead to tissue and cell failure, and long-term exposure can lead to potential paralysis and actually brain damage.
So the effects of carbon monoxide exposure do get worse over time, so spotting the signs and symptoms early is absolutely crucial. So the symptoms to look out for are things like a headache, dizziness, breathlessness, nausea or feeling sick, collapse, or indeed loss of consciousness. So if you can't think of any other reason why you may have these symptoms, or when you leave the house you immediately feel better, there's a chance you've been exposed to carbon monoxide.
We often hear people having flu-like symptoms, or even feeling hungover. This could mean you're being exposed to low levels of carbon monoxide.
So the first thing you can do is be alert to the danger. So if you know the signs and symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning, it will help keep you and your loved ones safe. So if you do suspect carbon monoxide, there's 3 little steps you can take. Open all the doors and windows to help ventilate the property. Move yourself and your family out into the fresh air and remain out until told by a qualified gas safe registered engineer that it's safe to go back inside. And then call the gas emergency service on 0800 111 999.
The fire service recommends that all gas appliances are serviced by a gas safe registered engineer annually, and we also like to encourage you to put a reminder on your calendar or even put it on your mobile phone.
So finally, get yourself a carbon monoxide alarm for your home. You can buy an alarm for around £15 from good DIY stores or even online, and they're easy to set up. If you live in rented accommodation, this should already be in place. However, it's worth checking with your landlord that you do have one and it is indeed working order.
We hand out free alarms and advice to people in vulnerable situations. We've worked with Cadent on a number of initiatives, such as distributing locking cooker valves to aid people with dementia, and also giving out dementia diaries to help them manage their day-to-day lives.
So at Cadent, we believe that education is the key, and that's why we continue to work with partners such as Derbyshire Fire and Rescue Service to raise awareness of carbon monoxide. We also educate many thousands of children in primary schools through our Safe to Seymour and CO Crew programmes on the dangers of carbon monoxide and how to stay safe. We know how important it is to educate people from a young age. Evidence has shown us that this helps us get the message to a much wider family audience through those children.
There we go. Thank you very much to Phil and Derbyshire Fire and Rescue. And Dorset and Wilts Fire and Rescue do have advice available on their website at www.dwfire.org.uk/carbon-monoxide. And if you are a vulnerable person, older or disabled in any way, that you can get a free check from Dorset Wilts Fire and Safety for both smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors. They will come out and assess what you need and help with installing them for you to keep you safe. Okay, moving on now, it's time for the weather. And this week we're joined by Aidan McGivern from the Met Office for the National Weather Forecast.
Hi there and welcome to the latest from the Met Office. This weekend looks a lot windier than it's been recently. There'll be rain at times, but the wind now coming from the west means that it will be milder than it has been throughout much of the week. This low pressure responsible, it's pushing past Iceland on Saturday. The cold front here brings some heavy rain for a time, particularly in the north, whilst it's the tightening isobars after the cold front that bring the strongest winds, especially to northern Scotland on Saturday night into the start of Sunday. Eventually a ridge of high pressure builds in later Sunday, so it does eventually turn drier and less windy. But that wind will be an issue, I think, later in the day on Saturday, really strengthening as this low comes close to Shetland, and it's across the far northwest of Scotland during the early hours of Sunday where we're likely to see the strongest wind gusts. So fairly widely inland Scotland, coastal Northern Ireland, parts of northern England, 60 mile/hour wind gusts, 70 around some of the more exposed coasts of northwest and then eventually northern Scotland. But in some of the most exposed coasts, I think 80 miles an hour is possible. So disruptive winds, but also combined with spring tides, could lead to some significant coastal impacts. The worst of the winds are overnight. However, it will remain windy on Sunday morning. More on that in a moment, but for the rest of the UK on Saturday night, it's a blustery night. The rain, as it pushes into southern England, really eases very quickly and clears away after midnight. So clear spells following, but with that wind, it's going to be another mild night across the board. Frost-free, 8 to 11 Celsius in places by dawn on Sunday. And then Sunday itself is a windy day. The strongest winds are expected across the higher ground and to the east of the higher ground. Northern England, eastern Scotland could be some travel disruption because of those winds. Really hazardous crosswinds, I think, in places. But either way, the winds are eventually going to ease into the afternoon and towards the west and the south. Actually, a lot of dry and bright weather, some sunny spells coming through. It will be a little bit colder compared to Saturday, but not much in it. And there'll be further outbreaks of light rain and showers coming into the far northeast of Scotland. Otherwise, for many, it's bright and breezy, I think, on Sunday. A lot quieter as we start off the new week next week, but another low coming along for later Monday and into Tuesday. Follow us on social media. We'll keep you updated on all the latest. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much there, Aidan, for the national weather forecast. And we'll pop up the local weather forecast there. We can see tomorrow's going to be a dry day. It's going to be a little bit warmer than it's been this week. And we do have the chance of rain midweek. And of course, not mentioned on the weather widget on screen there is that rain coming in around midnight tonight that'll go through rather quickly and then hopefully disappear in the early hours of the morning. So, moving on then to our traffic and travel this week. And I have some really bad news on the traffic and travel for you. Well, semi-bad news. The roadworks on Portland Road in White Regis will be returning this week. Now, you will know of the chaos that there has been on Portland Road with four-way working lights this last couple of weeks on and off. The good news is, although the roadworks are coming back, they are going to be during the night. It is being done by BT Openreach, and it is basically updating the fibre internet network, and it's essential work that needs to be done to clear ducting ready for the installation of gigabit broadband cables to get more connected. So that's good news, but there's going to be that disruption. It's going to be mainly during the night, so that's the good news. BT are also working on Buxton Road, hopefully not causing disruption there. Travel Dorset on Weymouth Way and Westway Road, Scottish and Southern on Connaught Road, SGN on Marsh Road and Portland Crescent this week, and Wessex Water on Newstead Road, which is closed with diversions. On the trains this weekend, there is a bus replacement service between Basingstoke and Reading, and in the Clapham Junction area. So if you are travelling to London this weekend, then you will have some disruption and you will have to hop on the bus for part of your journey, or possibly 2 parts of your journey. And also, just to remind you, as no work's going on this week, but starting from mid-November, around about the 18th of November, there are substantial works underway on the railway network, and that will be causing quite a lot of disruption in the run-up to Christmas, but hopefully finishing at the end of the first week in December. So let's move to our What's On. Hopefully, if we can do that. There we go. What's On? Weymouth Pavilion. Tomorrow is Sunday night comedy with Shappy Khorsandi. The 11th to the 13th this week is the WOW show, Weymouth Operatic Workshop, The Joy of Musicals. I'm sure that'll be a very good few evenings there. And the 16th of November, John Bishop, the comedian, is at the Pavilion. Contact the box office for tickets on 01305 783 225 or online on the website at weymouthpavilion.com. Nothing much happening at the Knowth Fort now until the 20th of December, where Picklebottom the Elf is doing a Christmassy show. But do keep an eye on the Knowth Fort website, www.knowthfort.org.uk, to see if anything pops up there between now and Christmas. We now come to our film review for this week, and it's got a Christmassy theme. This week's film is called 8-Bit Christmas. From a New Line Cinema and HBO Max comes 8-Bit Christmas, a humorous and heartfelt look back at the adventures of childhood. Set in suburban Chicago in the late 1980s, the story centers on a 10-year-old Jake Dawes' Herculean quest to get the latest and greatest video game system for Christmas. Various people starring in it, but it's from New Line Cinema, HBO Max, and it's a Star Thrower Entertainment production called 8-Bit Christmas, and let's have a look at it now.
Every kid has that one gift they want more than anything for Christmas. This is the story of mine.
Bookends? They have baseballs on them. I see that.
No, not those. Nintendo. A maze of rubber wiring and electronic intelligence so advanced it was deemed not a video game, but an 8-bit entertainment system.
No Nintendo in my house.
I second that.
Looks like a no-go on Nintendo.
I needed a Christmas miracle. The year was 1987, or was it 88? Super Bowl was in 86.
Okay, does it really matter, Dad?
Okay. The year was the late 80s. I was 11 years old.
Did you wear a helmet?
Yeah, we always wore helmets in the 80s. Me and my friends would do anything just to play one.
Any of you huddle masters want to play? What have you brought me?
I got a goldfish!
Untraceable cash money.
It's the final countdown.
One thing became clear. I needed to get my own.
This is bigger than Christmas.
The final countdown.
This Is our Vietnam?
I don't think that means what you think it means.
I have no idea what it means. We're gonna get in so much trouble.
Sometimes during Christmas, just when you think that all hope is lost, something magical happens.
Sold out in 20 minutes. It was ugly. One woman punched her grandma right in the throat. Same family, too.
Are you making all this up?
No way.
Did you guys hear in the reselling contest?
First prize is a brand new Nintendo Entertainment System.
I'm gonna kill you!
Hold on.
There are no rules. That Nintendo's mine.
What do you want?
Wanna buy a wreath?
Ma! This kid thinks your wreath sucks!
Video games have been doing all kinds of strange things to children.
What?
It was the 80s. Stuff got real.
Red Dog, this is Bluebird.
This is Rainbow 1.
What happened to Red Dog?
I changed it.
We're allowed to change names now. This is Millennium Falcon, super cool.
Woo! Love it.
There we go. That is 8-Bit Christmas. That's available on digital download from the 26th of November, just in time for the run up to Christmas. Well, we're almost at the end of another programme. Just to remind you that tomorrow in All Saints Church there are services at 8 o'clock and 9:30, and St Edmunds at 11 o'clock. Our quiz is on this evening in half an hour or so's time, starting at 7:30. You're most welcome to join us. And also to say, remember our year in gardening with Clive Gray at 7 p.m. on a Friday evening. And on the 20th of November, we're doing a live quiz in the Memorial Hall at White Regis. If you'd like to put a team in for that, we will be posting up some details on social media of how to get tickets for that very, very shortly. Also to remind you, if you want any local programmes during the week or to hear some local news during the week, do try one of our community radio stations of Chesil Radio, Keep 106 or Air 107.2. Other than that, that's the end of our programme this evening, and I look forward to being back with you at 6 o'clock next Saturday evening. Do keep us in touch. If there's any news or events going on that you'd like us to share with people, do email in at news@whiteregis.tv, and we'll be happy to share it with the local community. So it's a good night from me, and I will see you next week.